The lead item on the agenda is to have Megan and Anna go over the questions that we got from residents and other interested folks during the February 20 public session. So Megan, Anna, it's all yours.
Okay. What I can do is we'll just open up one of the documents at a time. So the first one I have are from Bob Gray. And let me go ahead and share my screen. Oh, is there any way I can share my screen?
Yes, give me 1 second. We're kind of locked down now. Let me see how you do that. All right. Try it now, Megan.
So can you see the screen with the comments and then the report?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So we will go ahead and add that inlet to all of the plans. So that's not a problem. As far as the photo having date stamps, that might be a little cumbersome to address at this time. I don't know if the town has any idea, since you guys provided most of the photos, if you have any idea of the dates they were taken. I mean, we know the ones we did during our assessment, but the various ones.
And a
And
lot
it's
of
not
the flooding
typical.
ones.
It's not typical to include the dates on photos in these reports, so I don't know.
I just thought that the dates would be helpful on the
The flood.
photos that showed flooding, to know when those were taken.
So we might be able to do that for some of them. Just because we'll remember when the photo was taken. Dawn's not on, right? Some of the photos were provided by Dawn. She may have identified her photos by date.
You may have that information if you.
But what's the concern, that somebody would question the flooding?
Well, the different dates had different amounts of flooding, and I'm just thinking the dates would help us differentiate whether it was a storm surge event only, or whether it was a rain event, or in the case of the October 29 and 30th of 2021, I believe it was both.
I tell you what, I'll work with Dawn and we'll see if we can add as many dates to those as we can.
I think she's going to join the meeting. I just talked to her. I think she may jump on.
Okay, well, just
Okay.
pencil me in and I'll work with Dawn on that one.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay. We can add mean sea level rise to the list of acronyms. We'll fix the typo. I already fixed the caption photo for inadequate drainage. Flooding is caused by that 29. Sorry, I went through these a couple days ago and they've already slipped my mind. What was your point with this comment, Bob? Page 2943.
So I just wanted it to be known that the cause of that flooding was the water coming backwards through the storm sewer and coming up out of the catch basin at the corner of 7th and Annapolis, and from there then flowing down to 9th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we definitely acknowledge that backwatering is
Yeah,
a
the main-
problem in a lot of these areas. And so as you'll see, the solutions all include some sort of tide valves.
Okay.
As long as I've been down here, we do get backwatering from 7th Street, but we've never had that much water coming from 7th Street alone. It's always usually some kind of storm or some kind of high tide that also floods through 9th Street.
Well,
Understood.
if the number of times that I've only been here since 2020. And every time that it's flooded, when the water starts going down Annapolis Avenue, 9th Street is dry until the pumps can't keep up.
Well, I don't know. I've owned property since 1973, so I know, and I've been down there since 1952. So I know that it's not just 7th Street that causes that kind of problem. It's usually a 9th Street problem as well.
And that's why, you know, a lot of the solutions fix both areas when we get into that section. And this, our modeling is one dimensional, so it's limited. It can't model overflow from one area into the other, which is noted in the analysis. But we do recognize that that is happening. And so when we get into our solutions, you know, one of the reasons one area might be ranked a little lower is because when we do the seawall for one area, it actually fixes multiple of the high priority areas. Then moving on, we'll fix the double black line. I don't know why that appeared that way. You're just noting the date from the storm. We'll fix the typo.
So on that storm of October 29th and 30th, I remember that being a pretty big wind from the east. And do you know how to look up whether that was the 1% storm?
I mean, so from a coastal perspective, it's very difficult to call it a 1% storm because, so for instance, yes, I think, so wind speeds were, I think they got up to about 26 miles per hour at their sustained wind speeds at their highest, but that happened at like 1 p.m. The water elevation happened at 10 p.m. So it's very difficult to call it a storm. Now for a storm surge event, that was between a 50-year and 100-year storm surge event. Wind speed event, it wasn't even a 1-year wind speed event. So it was just, you have these culminations of all these things happening. And yes, you did have rainfall as well during that time. And I don't know exactly what the rainfall event, how it would be categorized as a rainfall event, but
Donnie tracks that. He would have.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
number.
2.5 inches of rain is maybe like a 1-year event depending on how quickly it fell.
Yeah, I got that from a U.S. Department of Commerce chart going from a NOAA website.
I know for a 24-hour storm event, 2.5 inches is about the 1 year. If it fell in 12 hours, I'd have to look up what that equates to.
Okay.
Okay, hey, Megan and Anna, just keep an eye on time because we've got 4 sets of comments.
Okay.
So maybe, Bob, if you could hold your questions to the end, and if we don't get through all of your questions, we can certainly do more by email.
Okay. Elevating the roadway, we're going to have to agree to disagree. We routinely propose elevating roadways as part of flood mitigation strategies. We're only going to be raising it from the bay up to a certain point back, so it'll help reduce the amount of tidal overtopping, and also provides, you know, by raising the road, we then can put in larger pipes to convey more stormwater or a larger vault. So we're able to have that additional depth. So that's just to respond to that comment. If this one's not a low point, you know, we'll look into more closely why that area may flood.
Yeah, because that was an area of concern, which is true, but it wasn't one of the primary areas, so we weren't able to really delve into that the, you know, the flooding patterns in that area as well.
And what we are gonna do, which might address a few of everyone's comments, is in the other areas of concern, and Lauren, we talked
Yeah.
about this before the meeting. If there's one of these lower areas of concern that's, you know, adjacent to or really close to a high priority area, it may be worth then coupling that lower priority area with a high priority area when they go in for the grant applications. So we'll make note of that in the report that.
Yeah,
these-
it definitely would be good to note this in the report. It could help us leverage fixes from various entities going forward.
Yeah, because a lot of these other areas are very close
Right.
to these major projects. So adding them and doing a small project with a larger project would be a feasible option. We do propose a duck bill if we can't. I think the initial goal is going to be to pump over, and if that can't be done, then check valves are proposed at any outfall where tidal backwatering would be a concern. Anna, do you have a response for the berm dike comment?
The elevation varies. I measured it myself. Oh, yeah. I don't know if leveling if you're gonna raise the dike, then I would say it probably doesn't make sense to level it now. They can take care of the leveling during construction.
Okay. And yes, when we design the berm, we will incorporate outfall for storm flow to discharge through it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like a hand-in-hand thing. If you're going to be berming up a certain area, you have to make sure the water can get out. So it would be something we would address in design.
And yes, the berms are going to be raised to 6.5.
Yeah, that little, if you look on the figure, I can't remember what number or figure it is, but we do show that little portion of the road being raised as well, where the berm would cross over.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote it down and then forgot what number figure it was, but if you, it's for the solution, I think at Bay Avenue, possibly, it's in that figure.
Hey, if I could just raise one other point to the
Yeah, go ahead,
members
Bob.
to the flood committee. Until all of the raising of the various dikes and seawalls is done at a cost of give or take 10 million bucks. It's not going to work because the water is going to find the low point to go around. And that will also mean some sort of wall along the entire boardwalk. And I'm not sure that people either understand or want that. But water's going to find a way around a wall if there is a low point.
Anna, do you want to
Oh.
jump in? I know we had talked about this at the meeting about closing the
Yeah.
system.
So we definitely, the loop has to be closed completely, or you're not solving your problem. That we recommended doing the seawall in stages because some areas are already higher. So some areas of the boardwalk, for instance, are at a +4, some are at a +8. So there you can build something higher in front, and then yes, the water, when it comes to +4, would still flood around, but you wouldn't have your +3.5 flooding anymore and things like that. So we kind of broke the sections that we broke it up in, were broken up because of, you know, as the waters rise with sea level rise. And then, but yeah, so I think the seawall along Atlantic is recommended high. Because it's just so low there right now. But then you have the berm at Annapolis, which is at a +4. So you're already protected up to +4. And then but if you want to, but then when you're trying to, you know, keep out water levels higher than +4, then you need to do it all together, or they're going to end up, you know, flooding. So yes, we're definitely considering, number one, closed system. You can't protect against the water level unless the whole system's closed, because it'll just go around. And number two, the stormwater, the concern you brought up before about stormwater getting it out from a berm system. And then I think your last, with the last comment you had was about raising the seawall to +10.
Well, not raising it, but allowing the design so that if it does need to be raised
I see.
again, that, you know, anchors for rebar and that kind of stuff
Absolutely.
would be in the concrete.
Absolutely, yeah, totally agree with that. Adaptive
cool.
management is definitely something we try to incorporate in our designs as much as possible.
Okay,
Any final comments, Bob, before we move on?
well,
More
one other
questions?
thing is, it's my understanding that the, one of the pumps in 9th Street wasn't very happy during the storm that was a
That's
week or
true.
so ago.
That's true.
And I think something that could be looked at, which would be a relatively low cost, is some redundancy in the pump in the pump or pumps. I don't know how many pumps there are in that box.
There's
Okay,
two.
well, okay, well, as I said, I haven't looked in it, but is there room for a third so that if one fails, you still have 2 operational pumps?
Good question for Donnie. He was gonna be on today and talk about that, but I'm not sure he's gonna be able to call in.
Yeah, okay.
I'll
shut
look
up.
in there with
I'll shut
Donnie
up
there.
now.
I think Donnie had called me about the pumps. It's my understanding there is some funding available that I think they're gonna try and get going on the 9th Street pump upgrades very soon.
In answer to your question, Bob, there is not room for a third pump. Based on the drawings I've seen.
Okay,
Thanks, Gary.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next set of comments I open is from Susan. And Anna, I think this one is gonna be you.
Yes, deflection. You know, I'm showing where the boardwalk runs. Oh, yeah, so there, I think that's possible. The figures may have not been completely clear, but the seawall definitely runs. If you look at the gray, if you see that kind of like gray, it continues down. So you see that, and then it continues down. We are definitely proposing the seawall to go along the boardwalk up until you get to the beach area.
Yeah, I think Susan missed, it was kind of hard. It is kind of hard to see the colors, you know, there's so many colors in
Yeah.
the pictures there. So she missed that. I did point it out to her, and then she had a follow-on question. Just, will the seawall there in that section along the boardwalk be the same? Is the proposal that's the same height as the seawall along Atlantic proper?
Yes.
And I think it
yes.
is, but okay.
Yeah, we would recommend it to be the same height. So it wouldn't be that big of a differential in this area because the boardwalk's a little bit higher than Atlantic, so.
Okay. I think was that her only question?
I think so.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then next, what's this one?
Chris.
So these are from Chris. Donnie had already addressed the public library and I believe-
Chris is on, right? Christine, I'm not sure if Donnie's message made it to Chris, but if not, his response to number 1, if not, we can.
I can find it really quick. And
Okay,
then
that'd
we
be
can
good.
move on in the process. Yes, assessment of soil conditions is critical. That's something that would be done during the detailed engineering design and analysis. You know, geotechnical investigations would have to be done for all of these designs. Is EPA another potential source for funding assistance? I looked into them. It looks like they might have some funding availability, but they kept just referring to the federal grants portal. So we can look into it a little bit more, and if so, we can add it to the report.
So they funnel their money through the state. So like you all are actually being funded with EPA money. right now,
Right.
going
Yeah.
through DNR.
Yeah.
So whatever we can put, I mean, I think it's a good question, probably not a ton, but there's got to be, like, for studies like this, for example, not that we need to do another study, but EPA funding would be available, right? For some of the fixes, don't you think? Or
The ones I was finding, it was more like greenhouse gas emissions.
no green infrastructure stuff?
I'll look again. Like I said, it just kept clicking me
Yeah.
back to like the federal grants portal, and I was like
Okay.
leaving the EPA website.
So
Yeah.
I think the EPA grants are definitely more environmental, green infrastructure focused. And
Yeah.
while we have some of that here, a lot
Yeah.
of the more pressing issues are structural.
Yeah, that's
Gray
true.
infrastructure.
That's true.
So yeah, they kind of fell out fast as a potential.
Okay. As a
grant
good
agency.
potential source. Right.
So Donnie's response to the library was it was
Yep.
not designed to help with floodwater control, and I don't think redesign is an option. Project is funded by Calvert County and is currently over budget.
No kidding.
Over budget and late.
Looks good.
Looks good. Yeah.
It is nice looking.
Lost the tabs. So the next, I'm just trying to pull up the figure. So this is one where we could add it to maybe another other priority area, and then it could be grouped with the 3rd to 7th Dayton improvements. That's what my initial thought is.
3rd Street to 7th.
So we are currently proposing improvements on Dayton between 3rd and 6th, and this comment is to extend it. Pull up a map as well. Is
To
to
7th.
extend it to 7th because of there's flooding in the green in the alleyway behind. So let me pull up Dayton Street Beach. So one of the reasons we didn't propose anything at this alley is I know it is owned by the town, but
Very fancy what you're doing here.
Wow, impressed.
Like super impressed.
I go too far. I think I lost my. So people have put
Huh.
improvements in the alley. I know the town does own it, so any improvements we proposed in alleys were ones that were clear from end to end. And it does seem to be a pretty specific problem. Let me, go back to the aerial view. Just reference, pretty specific problem to the rear of these homes. So I don't know that we need to necessarily extend the Dayton from 3rd to 7th, but we could add this
Maybe just
alley
add it.
as another area of concern, and then it could
Yeah.
be addressed or coupled with the 3rd to 6th Dayton improvements.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, and that was not a comment, that was just a note.
Does Christine have any more questions, or if she's still on? Okay.
No, nothing in the chat.
Is she muted?
I think we can unmute.
You should be able to unmute.
Okay, well, she can always send an email.
Yeah, she can jump in when she feels like it.
Yep.
So this was Susan again.
I think you answered the question. She had just followed up with, how high.
Okay,
how
so this
tall,
this
And
one.
the depth, and the depth of the rocks, which is would be the same as what is proposed for, Atlantic.
Yeah, okay, so that's covered.
So in that last letter you were just looking at, can you go down further there? Keep going down. So right there is where the little outlook is at the bottom of 7th Street.
Mhm.
So to carry the wall higher, are you going to go around that outlook, or is the outlook going to get to be toast? Because the Jersey wall now goes halfway up the height of the fence, and then we're proposing to put it up even higher than that.
No, so the seawall we're proposing would be at the same elevation as the Jersey wall. That was why we like that alternative the best, because it wouldn't cause any new obstructions in view.
Well, wasn't it maybe 6 inches higher?
It is, sorry, correct, yeah, it was about a foot higher, but it wasn't substantially higher, right? And then whether we would go, how we would align the wall, whether around the outlook or in front of the outlook would be the design decision that's kind of made in conjunction with the town and how you guys would want to preserve that outlook or raise the outlook itself, or just how to kind of solve that issue would be something we would design and talk with the town about.
We've also got the outfall there, right? And the potential definitely a new pump station somewhere in that area. So it would have to be all part of it.
Yeah, all have to be coordinated.
So these are from Karen on,
Yes, so when it says Atlantic Ave includes our portion, correct, it seems to focus down near 7th Street and not discuss the portion of Atlantic directly.
so her portion is between 9th and, the Murphy Point. She lives right next door. Oh, to Carola, right? Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, so fixing all the improvements we're proposing, whether we discuss them at 7th or 9th or, along Atlantic, it will fix all of Atlantic. Correct, Anna?
Yes, I mean, right, so,
We are closing a loop.
right. Yes. All of Atlantic was addressed in the solutions.
The next question is more for the town or Donnie. The road slopes down here and actually pushes the water towards our homes. So they've been trying to get the road repaved. Any idea?
Like regraded, right? Is
Yeah,
that
because they have like a trench drain in front of all of the driveways.
Yeah, so all of Atlantic has that slot drain and the road is graded towards the houses.
Not all,
Not all.
no,
You don't have a slot drain in front
nope.
But they don't
Or
work
my-
anyway, so you're not missing out on anything.
Actually, yeah, you can,
You sound like Donnie.
yeah, the end of it doesn't have any.
It does go downhill. I mean, she's got a point. Goes
Yeah.
downhill at the last 3 houses.
Plants
So-
directly toward us and
Yeah, but
But if,
Atlantic slopes towards all the houses on Atlantic. The road slopes towards all the houses. Is that what you're talking about, that grade? Like it doesn't slope towards the bay, it slopes towards the houses, or you?
Yeah, and so she's been saying
Right.
for 8 years, she's been trying to get the mayor to
Yeah.
regrade the road so
Yeah.
it slopes towards the barriers.
yeah, the report said that it sloped the opposite direction, so.
Does it
actually,
say that?
Okay,
yeah,
then
and it
I
actually
can,
slopes towards the
Oh,
houses.
does,
no, yeah, I'm aware of that.
Okay,
We'll fix that in
making
the
sure.
report. Yeah.
thanks,
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Thanks, Karen.
yeah.
Okay, this is the slot drains.
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
not all of the houses down here have that. And if it's gonna get fixed with the new pump station, I just want to make sure that we're included in that, that's all. The
So,
couple houses down here.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I know you guys did you add mention of slot drains later in the report?
I
Isn't it-
thought we added it for Atlantic.
I thought you all did.
It's- Okay,
I
good.
think it was missing in the first draft.
I'll double check.
And I mean, I think that,
Great.
Yeah, the town, we're even, I mean, talk to Donnie a little bit. We're looking at doing this sooner rather than later and making them not bigger than an inch, which is what they are now. Hey, do you guys
Right.
remember when we went to StormCon? And the slot drains were like this big?
Nice.
They're beautiful.
Um,
Okay, so you guys will check into that?
Yeah,
Yes.
the report does, I mean, it does say that the survey shows the road drains towards inlets on the west side of the street. Runoff from Atlantic is currently collected in slot drains along the sidewalk that are discharged through the revetment to the bay.
Okay, so there is a portion of Atlantic that doesn't have slot drains, but it does say that the
Right.
road is rated towards.
West, yeah.
What, it
West.
drains west, yeah.
Okay, so maybe just specify that not all of Atlantic has these slot drains.
Drains. Okay.
Sure.
Any talk of building a breakwater across the lagoon down here? To limit the amount of water going into the lagoon.
I would say
Right.
it's, so that is, you talking about the lagoon, that lagoon where Megan's hand is pointing?
Well, hold on, let me look.
I think where like the yellow line is, right, Karen?
So not, is it yellow or green? I mean,
Oh, green,
across
yeah.
the main, no, not there. From here to Rosehaven, there was an Army Corps of Engineer report from 10, 15 years ago that recommended doing a breakwater with a small area to let the water through between us and Rosehaven. Something like that's over by Horizons on the Bay. And I was just curious if that was looked at all. Not there, no, across the whole main area, because then it limits the amount of water that comes into the lagoon and then into the marsh that's behind all the houses and then has access to 9th Street. So it would limit all that. I didn't know if that was looked at.
No, we did not, like, we kind of stayed within the town limits of what the town could do and did not look at that. But you're saying the Corps has kind of looked at it and recommended it, and so that could
Yeah.
potentially be an avenue to investigate. The impacts from doing something like that are pretty significant. There would be some environmental permitting, probably pushback, because you're kind of changing the whole hydrology of the area when you do that.
Yeah, so they recommended doing that rather than the living shoreline and digging the channel to back here. Because really the flooding got so much worse back here when they dug that channel between the lagoon and the marsh. But it's too late now, so.
No, well, hold on a second. So Karen, I know we sent that study to State Highway when they were redoing the road. And they considered it and they decided to make the opening closer to Rosehaven double the size. That was their,
Right,
not saying it, was the right solution, but that was their response. But
gotcha.
I mean, it might be, hey, Anna and Megan, maybe we'll just send you the core study, just so you can like eyeball it. And maybe it's something we can reference for something it going forward, next phase, future design, just something that, just so it's referenced and not forgotten.
That'd
So
be great.
we can find language to add a sentence or two
Okay,
about it.
so Karen, do you have that study? I always have a really hard time finding it. Do you know, or any information you have?
I'm sorry.
Just any information you have on it. I know you had like some emails, some a drawing in the core.
Yeah, I used to have the entire report, but when I lost my computer, then you lose it and all that crap.
Yeah,
And it was available online, but I have since lost the website. But I do have some of the drawings. But it was from at least 10 or more, year. It was before the living, it was when they were thinking of doing the living beach.
Shoreline.
So how long? Yeah, shoreline. Yes, thank you. So I'm not sure how long ago that was, but it was a long time ago. But it's still the same. It should still apply.
Okay, so I may have some of that stuff too. So maybe we'll just send you guys whatever we can find and see if you guys just see if you might be able to find.
Yeah, that'd be
this.
great. That'd be great.
We'll put some language in there so that way it's in the plan and you don't forget about it.
Okay.
Okay, that your last one was just more of a statement. So let's see what's next. This might be the same email.
I think this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was all the comments we received. So for Karen, Bob, Chris,
Okay,
Thank you. We received comments from 4 residents. You guys really dug in and we appreciate it. I mean, it makes for a better report. And it's a
Well,
long read. But it's
It
good.
is, but we definitely appreciate all the hard work you all are doing.
Thank you.
Especially you,
Thanks.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Yep, thanks. All right,
and then Lauren, I skimmed through your comments, like you said, most were more just accepting
yeah.
changes and stuff. Was there any of your comments that you actually wanted to
Um,
discuss that you can recall?
no.
Okay,
Trying to make my screen bigger so I can see everyone. I mean, you looked at all my comments? You're right.
yeah, and I mean, I didn't see the need to discuss any of them
Yeah.
from what I recall. I looked at them last week.
Okay, so yeah, so most of them were just editing because I mean, I've
Mhm.
already done all my substantive review, all of us have, so it's just really editing and smoothing and
Mhm.
so if you didn't have any concerns with any of them, then I think we're good.
Okay,
Do we have any sort of timeline for a final, or is that anything to chat about now?
we can get up to you by the end of the month, I would think. Anna, am I
Yep.
committing you to something?
I think that's kind of in line with our schedule.
Yeah, don't you need, when do you need the actual final report? By June 15th at the latest?
What was it? It was June, right? Didn't we tell you June 1st, but there's like wiggle room there?
I
Something
think
like that.
so. I think we can still get,
Yeah.
hold to the June 1st.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
While we have some momentum from the public meeting and this meeting, it'll be easier
Yeah.
for us just to address these comments and get it back out.
Yeah, so June is good. So then early June, and then I guess the next step after that would be to take it to council and get them to sign off on it and then start using it to get some
Yeah.
grants.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions for Megan or Anna?
None here.
No.
No.
Not for me.
Okay. All right, cool. Back to you, Dave. Can't remember what else is on the agenda.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
Sure, thank you, guys.
See you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Do we want to memorialize I mean, I've been kind of keeping notes on where we are with some of these questions. Does anyone see a need to memorialize the feedback on the questions, or
Well,
or
I
do we
think
want
it might be kind
final?
of, unless you guys took a lot of really good notes during this, it might be kind of onerous. And that's one reason, I mean, we did record it. It is going to go up on our YouTube channel. But what do you all think?
Well, I did keep track also of the things that we said we would do in addition to.
Okay, well, that's good.
So, I mean, I'll at least memorialize those things, like getting the Army Corps study up to
Okay. The action items for us.
yeah, sort of the action items. So I'll publish those and note obviously that it's recorded and they'll be working to create the final by June 1. June 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
The other items here, one on the agenda was to reschedule the demo for Fifth Street, but we need Donnie for that. So,
I talked to him about it. I had an idea.
yeah,
And
okay.
he agreed. He thought it was good. So I want to see what you guys think. And I've got to leave in 5 minutes. So I'll be quick. I thought it might be really cool to do the Fifth Street demo on or around the time the plan is final. So maybe our next meeting in June, or maybe our meeting in July. You know, the plan probably won't be done to the end of June. Probably, you know, if we had to.
You're going to demo something. Would it be good for the 4th of July?
That would be kind of cool. We'd have a lot of people.
Is a demo, is it demo going to be, there's going to be water in the conduit?
Donnie's gonna he can somehow make sure there's water in it.
We're gonna use a
Okay.
cup.
It'd be
We're just gonna
worthless
take a hose from your house, Gary.
Okay.
Okay, so one option is, early July, the other one is at our June meeting, but somewhere tied in with the plan being final, and then we'll have like an announcement, the plan is final, council's approved it, and we can demo the Fifth Street pumps. invite council, invite Chesapeake Beach, invite Sasha, from DNR, residents, of course, Don
Right.
will send out a, an announcement, a blast. Anything else? Anyone else?
Yeah, it may take till July to do that, so
Yeah.
to get all that in order, so.
Is there anything else we could or should be doing in the meantime while we're waiting for the plan to finalize and while then it has to go to council? I mean, a lot of time passes. Is there we pretty much in waiting mode at this point until we get their approvals?
Well, I mean, when Bayland turns a plan around, we all should read it again, one final time. So that's in a couple weeks. We can start, we could start planning for this demo. I think we should make a pretty big deal out of it. I think it's a big deal what's been done with Fifth Street, considering also how well it worked a few weeks ago. So we could do that. We could focus on, planning for the demo. We're also gonna probably need to pull together a presentation, quick, short presentation of the plan. And we probably already have something in the can, right, Dave? But for council, Donnie would run through like 4 or 5 slides, identifying, discussing the highlights of the plan and be presented at probably the June council meeting.
Yeah, and remind me when again, Mike is going to speak to Senator Jackson?
He was gonna do that wasn't it late June?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so we can use the same or a subset of the Jackson slides maybe, or the same slides, it's
Yeah.
about the same high level thing, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know, do folks know that Mike is on Jackson's calendar to
Didn't know that, no.
present the final plan to him, talk to him about it, get him excited about it.
Oh,
and
nice.
Very
Nice.
supportive and helpful in terms of helping us get some funding for Fifth Street. So
Yeah, hopefully we can include an ask as part of his presentation as well. So, maybe that's something we should be thinking about if there's, if we want to put big, a new pump in the 9th Street station. I mean, maybe that's the time to ask for some funding to do that.
Yeah. Hey, do we have a, good-
okay, hey guys, I gotta take my son to the dentist, but
okay,
great meeting.
Yeah,
Talk
see
to
you,
you
Lauren.
soon.
yeah.
All right. If you have any grant info, let folks know.
You
See
will.
sitting there. Okay, bye, guys.
See ya.
Hi.
Yeah, so I don't know that we have anything left on the agenda. We were gonna be talking about a barbecue for the committee and the friends of the committee. But we kind of need Donnie and Lauren and for that as well. And so I'll open it up to any new business that anyone wants to bring up. Hey, Tom, good to see you.
Hello.
Hey,
Yeah, I was
Dave.
driving there. I didn't want to be driving and watching and all that, so pardon me. I was listening in though. Yeah, I mean, from a grants update, I'll call it new business, but I've been tasked to kind of connect the dots between the department heads, what they've requested for needs, and to see what grant opportunities are out there. So I've kind of been listening in. To be honest, once Bayland kind of finishes, then I have sort of the 10 commandments from them, right? So it sort of has to be written in stone before I'm allowed to ask for things, but it's going well.
Okay, good.
I have a quick question. Dave, do we have a video of the Fifth Street pump actually operating with water shooting out? Because that'd be very dramatic to put in a slide somewhere.
I don't know the answer to that question. Given that
We need rain.
it's near and dear to my heart, I should have done it when we had the last storm when I was here, but I did not. But
It was pumping out then, was it?
oh yeah, well, this was about 3 weeks ago, I guess, before I left for Texas. So, but
When they're,
comes up in the meantime, it's a good idea. I'll go out there if I'm around. I'll go out there with my iPad and do some filming.
didn't Lauren have some pictures of it operating?
I don't know, Jay.
I thought I saw a couple come out when they were testing it.
Okay, well, I'll certainly ask.
I took a couple of stills of it, Jay, but it'd be more dramatic to see have a little video of pumping water.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Terrific. Anybody got anything else? Okay. All right, everyone.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
terrific job. We'll talk to you again in a month.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye-bye.